It's the Andrew Christopher Show. With Andrew Christopher, your host. It's the Andrew Christopher Show. But really we call it the AC Show.
Welcome, you guys.
Yeah, we really call it the AC Show.
I am your host,
Really call it the AC Show.
Andrew Christopher. If you're a first-time listener or viewer, thanks for being here. I appreciate everyone who's been checking them out so far and subscribing to my channel and liking the videos and sharing them. So continue to do that. I really appreciate it. If you're tuning in for the first time, you've joined us at a very interesting spot. I've been just talking about myself the last few episodes, broken up into different decades of my life. So we covered young AC from 0 to 10, and then teen AC from 10 to 20. And today we'll be talking about adult in air quotes AC. But first, I always like to start off with something called family time. Very important. Family is important to me, and it's going to be about me kind of blowing off some steam about the kids and my wife maybe and other things like that. And more importantly, I finally have the drop to play you guys. Our family time theme song. I had the kids come in. Anyway, just check it out. Listen to this.
Family time, family time. Ooh, 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 it's family time. It's family time. Woo! Yeah!
Isn't that awesome? Haven really got into it at the end there, I think. And Jaden was in here and Jamie. Great job, you guys. Thanks for doing that for me. So I'll be playing that before the segment, and I guess we'll get into it. I had something that was bugging me a little bit. I came up the other day again, kind of about refrigerator etiquette. I guess we share all the chores, but I do quite a bit of the grocery shopping. Like to keep things stocked up. And I often find, so if we're down to like a couple pieces of ham, honey ham is what's big in this house, I'll go get another 400 grams or something, bring it home, put it underneath the 2 pieces of ham. So there's a package on top that has almost expired, but not yet, still good to eat. Use that first. It has the 2 pieces, and then underneath a full pack, 400 grams of honey ham. But for some reason, I'm not sure who it is, assuming it's either Jaden or Jamie. They always take the top package off, push it aside, and grab the nice full pack from underneath and start eating out of that. So I just don't understand it. It's a waste of food, waste of money. And it happens with everything. It happens with the milk. Almond milk, we don't do dairy around here much. So I buy a new carton of almond milk. The other one has, about a quarter left. But again, I'm being the practical provider and bring home a new carton before the old carton's finished. But for some reason, they open up the new carton before finishing the old one, and I just don't get it. It's bugging me. Had to get it off my chest. Use up the old food first. I understand if it's expired or something, but it's not. It's still good. So just because I'm stocking up with new stuff, I don't know what it is. It's like they're excited. It's a new package of ham or a new carton of milk. They just want to get into it. But please, you guys, and if you do this, stop, because it bugs people. So please use up the original ham or milk or cheese or yogurts, whatever it is. Make sure the old stuff is finished first. There's starving kids out there. So just do it. Anyway, I'm going to play that drop again. That's the end of family time.
Family time, family time. Ooh, 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 it's family time. It's family time. Yeah!
You know, just to lighten the mood after getting a bit serious on you guys there. So anyways, there it is. Family time. We're going to get right into decade 3. No, we're not. Because last time I forgot about errors and omissions, so I'm not going to forget this time. I wanted to start off backtracking to anything I forgot from decade 2 or things that I got wrong. I don't think I really got anything wrong. It looks like just a bunch of things that, a few things I forgot from decade 2, 10 to 20 years old, teen AC. One, I do remember this very vividly. My buddy Adam Sipple brought it up, but I forgot to talk about it. As I talked about getting into the game of golf, really enjoying it. There was one time I was at what now is Sheam Mountain Golf Course, who hosts the Love for Lily golf tournament each year now, 2 years running, about to be a third. Shout out to them. I was playing there as a youngster. I can't remember the exact age, but I was playing with Chris Petrovics, who later on was in Argyle, as I mentioned in the last episode, my first band. And we were out golfing. I shanked one into the woods, and my dad was like, "Go get that ball. Don't lose another one." So I went off ahead of everybody, and Chris came up after me, and he shanked one right into the woods, like right at me. And I heard them yell, but I froze, and he frickin' drilled me right in the back of the head. And I do remember everything going silent for like a good 45 seconds. And I turn around, and everybody's like running up to me to see if I'm okay. So possibly my first concussion, I don't know. But that was something I forgot. Pretty big moment in my golf career. So I always stay behind the players who are playing, especially if I'm playing with Chris. Something else I forgot to talk about, which is very relevant right now, was when I got punched in the face at a New Year's Eve party, sucker punched. I was trying to break up a fight. And then I guess somebody didn't like me trying to break up this fight. And he came up from behind me kind of and smoked me right in the eye or in the cheekbone, and actually fractured my orbital bone. And I was knocked out pretty good, probably my second concussion, who knows. And to this day, it still hasn't healed properly. So when I get like sinus infections like I have right now, it gets all freaking messed up. I can't blow my nose properly. There's all these like pressure issues I find when I blow my nose, and my eye, like just below my eye, kind of puffs up, and I have to like push it down or try and equalize the pressure. It's so freaking weird. I did confront the guy a couple of times. Saw him at a bar, the next year or a couple of years later. And he didn't want to go at it. I like to think he was scared of me, but he did say sorry. And it doesn't fix my face, but yeah, who knows? Hopefully, I think I'm going to go get it checked out again because it's really starting to bug me. So there you go. My broken face. That was that story. The cornrows, the picture of my cornrows. If you missed it, go back, check out the other episode. You'll have to go to YouTube or my Instagram or Facebook to see the actual picture. But I had cornrows at one time through high school. And that picture, it arose quite a fuss. And the hairdresser who did it actually commented on the photo and said, "Oh, well, what can I say? I was good at doing cornrows." And she did a great job. And it was because she needed like models for her portfolio. So both my sister Lisa and I went in there to get our hair done. So that's a bit more on that story. So let me know if you think I should bring them back. I could try my best, but I don't have as much hair up there as I used to. So it might be tough, but I'd give it a shot. It might even make it look a bit more interesting. Who knows? I'm drinking licorice tea today. It tastes awful, but supposedly it's good for your voice. Segue into more of my singing career, I forgot. I went to Canadian Idol. Didn't do that great, but I went with Kate and Becca Hess. We went to high school together. Becca actually just released a new album called Truth. You could find that on Spotify and iTunes and such. It's awesome. I checked it out the other day. It's a good country album. And yeah, we went to Canadian Idol together. I did make it through a couple rounds of like the producers and got in front of the TV judges. And there was like a 2.5 second clip of me on the actual show when they said no to me. And I was like, no? That was my 15 seconds of fame there. 2.5 seconds of fame, I guess. So yeah, I went to Canadian Idol and I met Cliff Ronning and his daughter. They were there. I don't know how she did. She didn't make it all the way or anything, that's for sure. But it was cool. Got a picture with Cliff Ronning, former Canuck, if you didn't recognize that name. I did get one thing wrong. This was an error. My sister Carolyn pointed it out when I was talking about the pub I worked at in England. It was my grandpa's club. He was the president there. And it was not a country club. She said it was the exact opposite of that. It was a working man's club. So more like the blue collar folk, which I knew that, but I called it a country club. So it was actually a working man's club. Thanks for pointing that out, Carolyn. And then my buddy Sean Hanna said he checked out the episode. I played hockey with him back in the day when we went to that tournament in Princeton. And when one of the dads helped us young kids get drunk. And he just reminded me of a few other little notes from that time that we were walking around the town and the cops actually cornered us in an alley to see what we were up to. And they saw no harm. I don't think we had any booze on us at the time. And then we actually that night had to go bowling with like our coaches and all the parents after we had been drinking. And Sean said he remembered sneaking the booze into our coats into the bowling alley. And that our buddy Taylor, who was playing on the team, flipped over like the bowling ball machine where they come out, or he pushed it over or something because the balls weren't coming. So drunken bowling, that was something I had forgot to talk about with that little story. But that's it for errors and omissions on Decade 2. So we will dive right in to Decade 3 now. I just got home from Australia, had the big beard, showed that picture in the last episode as well. Eventually got rid of the beard so that I could get a job working at Jack's restaurant in Agassiz. I was a waiter or a server. I'm not sure what's politically correct. And Serena, who I said I met in New Zealand, she was from Winnipeg and she moved out to BC so that we could give things a go, even though she was quite a bit older. She was turning 30 pretty quick, and I was just turning 21 that summer. She moved in with at my mom's, where I was living, in separate rooms, though, of course. And we were giving that a go. It was on and off for a bit, but eventually fizzled out, and we realized we were at different points of our lives, given the 9-year age difference. So it didn't work out. And after working at Jack's for a summer, I was going back to college to give that one more try. And in the kinesiology program, which I was not very good at, I just couldn't concentrate, had my mind on other things, I guess. And it was at that time, still working at Jack's, I would bring my guitar in once in a while because the owner knew that I was a singer. And I would play like Happy Birthday to the tables if it was their birthday, or ask people for a favorite song that I could play of theirs and make a bit more money doing that, make some good tips. And at grand opening, as fate would have it, Dylan, my drummer's parents, were at the grand opening of this restaurant, and I was going around playing music, and they snapped a video, sent it to Dylan, because he had started this band, pardon my striptease, but they were looking for a singer. So I got the call the next day. They wanted me to come for a tryout in Mike and Orla's basement, the bunker, as we call it, our rehearsal spot for a long time. And I went in there and I auditioned with Lightning Crashes by Live and just blew them away, I guess. I got the spot. They said they'd love for me to start playing with them and jamming with them. And, oh, yeah, we are supposed to go to New York next month to play at Carnegie Hall, which I don't think I need to tell you is one of the most well-known music venues in the States for sure, and in the world. It's a pretty big deal. So they were going to back up this kayagum player, which is a traditional Korean instrument, because Aaron, the guitar player, was going to school, and this lady was one of his instructors. She knew that he was in a band and asked him if him and his band would come back her up at Carnegie Hall, and I had joined the band, so I decided I could do this because I had a bunch of money from my student loan that I just took out for that semester. So pretty much it goes, I dropped out of college and used the rest of my student loan to join this band, go to New York, had a great time, came home, did not go back to school. The gentleman who I talked to on the first episode of the AC show, Clint Hames, was helping manage the band, and he was also vice president of a company called Pathways, who help disabled adults out of high school get job placements and find volunteer work. And he got me a job there so that I could still be making some money and concentrate on music a bit more. So dropped out of school, joined the band, got a good job. I loved this job. My sister Lisa, her firstborn son, had Down syndrome. So I had a bit of experience in that way, but Clint really helped me get the job. But I gelled pretty well with everybody there, and I was making a bit of money, playing music, no more school. I knew it just didn't work out. But I guess at that time, as I said, Serena and I kind of fizzled out. And that's when Chelsea, the sequel, came back into my life. We had been chatting because she was at college, as I mentioned, playing soccer, and we had been chatting. And so we started dating. Again, it was kind of on and off, just a thing that I do. And at that time, I was living with my sister Michelle. Kind of sidetrack here, but then it all comes together. I was living with my sister Michelle, who, as I said, on my 19th birthday, took me out, and I called her my alcoholic sister. And she'll be happy to tell you that too. We're going to have her on the podcast to talk about all this. But I was living with her, and that's what really opened my eyes to her addictions and issues. It was a pretty tough time to be living with her and seeing what she was doing to herself. So yeah, I was living there while I was working at Pathways, while I was doing the Pardon My Striptease thing, and I met Chelsea. We were dating. Eventually, Chelsea got pregnant, and so we thought we better get a bit more serious about this thing. So I moved out of Michelle's place, and Chelsea and I got our own place to start setting up a home for our baby, who would be Lilee-Jean, who a lot of you know about. That's why I'm wearing the hat, my LJ hat. And so Lilee-Jean was born December 10th, 2005, which I guess that would make me 20. Math is hard. Anyway, 22-ish, 23. Yeah, that makes sense. Somewhere around there. And so things were going pretty good. As I said, I was still working at Pathways, still doing the Pardon My Striptease thing. Everybody was excited for us having a baby. Then at 10 months old, Lilee-Jean started just acting really weird. She was crying all the time. She couldn't even keep her head up. We thought she was just so tired and weak. We took her in to get an ultrasound done, and we could tell something was wrong when the tech couldn't really tell us, but she said, okay, you got to go here, get this checked out. And Lilee-Jean was diagnosed with brain cancer, glioblastoma. And so from there, our lives obviously took a huge turn. We were living in the hospital. And if we weren't living there, we were back and forth to there from Chilliwack. And she had a couple of brain surgeries to try and get rid of it. Started going through chemotherapy, of course. And it was never going to be a good outcome. As much as, we saw some progress, saw some shrinkage. So we wanted to tell ourselves it was going to be good, but we still knew with this type of cancer, in the back of my head anyways, I pushed it to the back of my head, and I was hoping for the best, of course, but it was always kind of a matter of time thing for Lily, unfortunately. And so during all this, Chelsea and I were doing our best to be there for Lily and for each other, but it just was getting a bit hard. And so Chelsea and I eventually split up as well, parted ways while Lily was still going through treatment. And so we had a schedule worked out where one of us would be there for the day and night, the other one would be at the hotel, and then we would switch. The other one would come to the hospital, take over for the day and night, and we were there together for the important things when we needed to be, but otherwise we were just kind of making it work. Trying to keep everyone as sane and as comfortable as they could be. But it was a really hard time in my life, obviously. And we got to do a lot of cool things with LJ still. I'll get into those a bit more later. But she was going through a lot of treatments. So it was living in the hospital. The time when I met Jamie came out, and it was actually kind of a funny story to lighten the mood. Okay, backtrack a bit. I'm sure you guys can hear it in my voice. It's a bit tough to talk about this stuff sometimes as I'm fiddling with the drawstrings on my sweatpants, and I can wear sweatpants because I'm in my basement and you can't see my pants. So sorry. Yeah, it's a bit tough for me to talk about, and I'll hopefully do probably a full episode on Lilee-Jean, put some really nice pictures up and play you some of her songs. And actually, I'm going to play one for you right now because this ties into the Pardon My Striptease thing. We put out a song for Lily, and she, obviously didn't quite understand what was going on. But we put this song out as Pardon My Striptease to raise money for the Children's Hospital. And it made a pretty big headlines. It got national news coverage, got the attention of Nickelback. We challenged them kind of to donate what money we were donating. So we ended up raising upwards of $100,000 for BC Children's Hospital because of this song and because of a lot of you who were following Lily's story and listening to this. And check out a little bit of it.
Help me escape from this selfish embrace. I need someone to blame. Why's it always your name? I know you'll see me at night. Bring this habit to life. Why don't you put up a fight? In here I feel so alive. And it's where I hide. It's
There you go, anyways. So that's Pray for LJ by Pardon My Striptease. And you can find it on Spotify still, which I looked it up. I was like, I hope it's on there. But it is. So that was a tune by Pardon My Striptease we had written and released and raised a lot of money for the hospital. Something positive we were able to do at that time. And I was so happy the guys did that for us and for the hospital. It was really cool of them. So back to kind of that time of my life, Chelsea and I had split up. Jamie, my wife, was in the hospital with her daughter, Jaden, who you guys saw and know, who is still here with us at 10 years old, and because she had leukemia. So they were undergoing treatment at the same time Lilee-Jean was. And I guess Jamie caught wind of this song we put out for the hospital. She had messaged me on Facebook, but it went to the other messages folder, so I never saw it. We're going to get Jamie on here sometime. Her and I are going to talk about our relationship and all that. But so I'll just go through it quickly. Anyways, I missed it for a while and then finally saw it like a month or two later. And it was like, I'm so sorry I missed this message. And, do you want to grab a coffee or however it happened? And then we started chatting and it was great to have her in my life when we were both going through something so tough. I think we were able to help each other through a lot of that. And so then her and I decided to become a thing or dating or whatever you want to call it. And it went from there. Again, there was a few ups and downs. Obviously, we were both going through a lot. Lilee-Jean's roller coaster kept going up and down, so I would go up and down like that as well. And so it was a tough time to start a relationship. I'm sure we'll get into that more when Jamie's here to talk with me about it. But we had some good times there as well. There was times when Lily was doing a bit better. Treatments were kind of steady, and we could enjoy life a little bit with her. We did a lot of fun things. I was still doing a little bit with Pardon My Striptease at the time. We took a bit of a break, obviously, but we were still rocking out, doing some shows, and through Jamie, we gathered a few big fans who also doubled as my sister wives. A couple of Jamie's best friends, Tara and Steph, seemed to really take a liking towards me. Obviously, they thought I was really good for Jamie. They wanted us to make it work, and they also wanted in on a bit of the action, if you know what I mean. So Tara and Steph were hanging around a lot, and we just started to call them our sister wives, and it worked out great. They shared the responsibilities of taking care of me, and I'm just kidding. It's obviously a bit more of a joke than anything. Another thing I had to mention, though, it was a PMS road trip. We were going up through Kamloops, then around to Kelowna and back down, and we had a van. We had purchased a band van, trying to come up with the names, and we nailed it on the band van 3000, drinking in LA style. And we had taken off. The girls were a bit ahead of us. They had made it to Merritt. The van did not even make it to Merritt and broke down. The girls ahead had to come rescue us, bring us a bunch of water or something. We made it to Merritt, but the van couldn't go any further. So we packed up all our stuff into the Sister Wives vehicle and made it to the gig. And so the Sister Wives saved the day. Tara specifically wanted me to talk a lot about her on this episode. So one other story about Sister Wife A, I think she is. I was up in Sun Peaks, and we were playing some kind of newlywed game, Jamie and I. This was a few years later, I think, but I'll just tell the story now. And the question I got asked was, who of my wife Jamie's friends would I want to see in a bikini? And my answer obviously was Tara, and we got it right. Jamie said Tara, and I said Tara. And that's, I would assume, because Tara is quite well endowed in the chest area. So my wife knew that about me, and there you go, Tara. There's your big shout out. So back to a bit of the story. My wife made some adjustments on my notes here, and I think I'm following along correctly. I go here. Sister wives came into my life. We were living actually in Yaletown. Jamie had a place there, and I kind of moved in with her. But like I said, I was back and forth to the hospital all the time. And it worked out pretty good because I was, at that time, starting to busk a lot more. It was an easy way for me to make some money while Lily was in the hospital if it was my days off. And so I was busking on Granville Island pretty much full time, like 5 days a week. I would go out there. A really cool experience, actually. And yeah, you have to go there at 10 in the morning. They would do a draw to see who gets the good spots. Granville Island is this, in case you're not from around here, if you're listening or watching, beautiful spot in Vancouver, very artsy area, lots of cool little vendors and lots of buskers who go there, or street performers. And so there's obviously a couple spots that are better than others. And so you have to go early, get your name in the draw, and then they draw out who gets to pick the spot first. So sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But it was pretty good. Made some decent money. Some days, there was a couple days that I made over $200, doing 3 sets kind of at different places, people just throwing coins in. So yeah, you could make some decent money, and I had CDs I was selling too, I think. Anyway, so I was busking full time, and at about this time, I think, is back to talking about my sister Michelle, when she chose to go into rehab out on Vancouver Island. And this was exceptionally hard on her, well, and on our family as well. We knew it was time. She was really rough. And obviously, with everything Lily was going through, it made it even tougher on her. It made the decision even more tough because her going away to rehab for 3 months or whatever it was meant she didn't know if she would see Lily again. But she made that choice. She went to, the name escapes me, but she'll be able to tell you all about it when she's here. She went to rehab, got clean. She's been clean almost 6 years now, which is incredible. And she did get home to have a lot better last memories than she would have with Lilee-Jean. She could remember them at least, and she could really feel her emotions and tell Lilee-Jean how much she meant to her. And so I know that was very important for her, and it was nice for us as a family to see her get the help she needed. So Michelle went to rehab. She came back. Lily was still around. Lilee-Jean and her mom, Chelsea, and I got to go on a few really cool trips to Hawaii and to Disneyland, things like that, kind of when we knew the time was going to be coming and treatment wasn't really an option anymore. So we enjoyed those last few months with her. She ended up at Canuck Place. And during all this time, Jamie and I had got pregnant. Segue to the second time I ever heard my mom swear, when Jamie and I sat her down to tell her that we were pregnant with all this other stuff going on in my life. And my mom just said, fuck. Which was understandable, I think, at that time. It was a surprise, but we've made it work. That's Haven, who, as you guys heard in the family time drop, is a beautiful soul. She's doing great. And obviously, Jamie and I have another one on the way, which will come a bit later in this decade. So back and forth as my life was, just a roller coaster up and down of highs and lows. And then at the lowest point, Lilee-Jean passed away September of 2013, before her third birthday. And yeah, it was tough. It was impossible. There was no way of knowing how to deal with it. If anyone out there is going through something like that, my heart goes out to you. It's still hard to talk about, but it's a part of my life that I've kind of come to accept, and we do a lot of things to keep her memory alive, including I wear this hat at every gig that I play, and I've got this beautiful necklace that Canuck Place made for me with her fingerprint on it, and we celebrate her birthday, and we talk about her with the kids all the time and show them videos and pictures. So I think that's I'm sure a lot of you knew this already, all this stuff about Lilee-Jean, but obviously, that's where a lot of my depression and anxiety stems from. It's going through that with her, being at Canuck Place and seeing her so helpless and passing away, and we were right there beside her when it happened, and yeah, it was a really dark time in my life. We were as strong as we could be for her, and a lot of you guys helped me get through that. So thank you. And it was only a month after that when Haven was born, and she was really my saving grace. If it wasn't for her being born, I have no idea where I would be or if I would still be here. But I knew I had to man up, for lack of a better term, and be responsible. I wasn't the greatest partner or father for the first little bit there, and I hope that's a bit understandable with what I was going through. But we've made it work. We're still together. As you'll hear later on, we got married. Not to spoil it, but yeah, really, really tough time in my life. That's kind of, I would say, obviously the most pivotal moment in my life where things could have gone really bad. I'm glad to say I came through it. I got through it, and found some, I hate to say this word, but found some positives to take out of it and to push myself towards becoming a professional musician. It was kind of the only work I could do at that time because it was nice and flexible, and it gave me a lot of time to work on this stuff. Being in the hospital with Haven, with Lilee-Jean, sorry, and so through all that is how I was able to become a professional musician and started playing more at pubs and restaurants, and making a career out of it, making some decent money. And when I was ready to start working full time, I was playing 5 or 6 nights a week, and it's been that way for the past 5 or 6 years now. So I got to check out these notes. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but Haven was born, as I said, October 2013, at only 31 weeks. So having just gone through all that with Lily, and then Jamie had to deal with Haven being in the hospital for, I think she was there almost 4 or 5 weeks, and I made a couple visits there, but it was really hard on me to see another child of mine in such distress. And Haven was okay. The doctors were taking good care of her. She was healthy, even though she was that early. But for me, I couldn't handle it. And so I did miss a bit of time with her at the very beginning of her life, and it sucks, but it was kind of what I was going through back then. And I'd like to think I'm making up for it now, and she knows I love her, and I wish I could have been there more, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. So, getting through that hard part. Thanks for bearing with me again as I fiddle with these drawstrings on my sweatpants. Moving a bit further along, Haven's born. I'm playing music full time. Jamie and I making things work. It's going well. Jaden has been in remission now for 5 or 6 years, right, Jamie? Sorry, I should have had you on this one with me. So Jaden's doing great. She's healthy as can be. So back, I was playing cover tunes professionally, making money that way. My original music started gearing more towards kind of the country music scene, which was cool for a while. But I was never huge into the new country sound. It just wasn't doing it for me. Kind of, I guess, big step in my career. I got to play at the Merritt Mountain Music Festival. Some of my original tunes I got on stage. It's one of the biggest country music festivals around, and so that was awesome. I loved that opportunity. And after that, I just kind of looked at it, and I just didn't really like the tunes I was writing as much when I was trying to write country songs. They just didn't quite mean as much to me. So at this time, it was all kind of under Andrew Christopher. I'll play a bit of one here for you. It was good, but I wrote this song just as a joke about me and my buddies playing golf, which is fine. And it's fine to write those kind of tunes, but it just didn't quite do it for me. It's a good song. It's on Spotify and iTunes under Andrew Christopher. And here's a little bit of that one for you guys anyways. Shout out to all the boys at the Chilliwack Golf and Country Club. Cheers.
Work week's done, got you feeling uptight. The 5 on the clock is such a beautiful sight. Hey, it's for the Friday. You're wearing that frown 'cause the girls got you down. We're all here to help you turn it around. Hey, it's for the Friday.
So you see, there's a bit of that country twang that I was starting to write those tunes. I'll play a bit of this other one for you, which was written not too long after Lilee-Jean passed away. And it's more, I released it as a country tune, but you'll hear it doesn't sound as country as that last one. And it's one I still perform now with Parliament of Owls, and because it's kind of more of that singer-songwriter feel and just more the emotion I like. So check this one out.
I'll always remember the start of September and the rainy day that it ended. I hope this reminds you of a wahoo chilling under a palm tree. Oh, Hannah, just me and my family. The way that you'd sing along to all of our favorite songs.
So you could see that one's a bit more of a generic genre, for lack of a better term. And as I said, I still perform that one with Parliament of Owls. And I think we're going to add it on the album that will be coming out in the next few months. Add it on as a bonus track. Because I know a lot of you love that tune, and it's not anywhere hard copy yet, so we'll print it on the CD. Anyway, so I did that little stint as a country musician, and I was nominated for a couple BC Country Music Awards. It was pretty cool. But that had its time, and now I've kind of moved on just to more, it's almost like folk rock stuff. You heard some of the Parliament of Owls tunes, and if you haven't, head to iTunes, Apple Music, or Spotify and check them out. Or there's some videos on this YouTube account if you're watching. Anyway, so after that, it was about this time when we all started finding out a lot more bad stuff about my dad. I just wrote down daddy issues. So as I said, my parents had divorced. My dad took off to Australia. I'm not sure how much detail I'm going to get into here, but I'm just going to keep talking. It feels pretty good opening up to you guys. I'm not going to lie, even though I don't know who's watching this. But, it's just nice to get things off your chest sometimes. So my parents have split up. My dad moved down to Australia. Now he's kind of, at this time, coming back into our lives, making trips over to visit once in a while to see the grandkids and all this, and talking about making a more permanent move back to Canada. But he got caught in one of those sting operations by, what the hell are they called? The creep catchers. And this unleashed a whole string of events, and he's in jail right now, as he should be. And I'm hoping it helps him and he gets the help he needs. It's going to be a long road to recovery for any relationship I know with my sisters and I. Rightfully so. He's got some major issues. As I said, I hope he gets help. He's another sick human being who needs help, and it's tough not to judge. And I've done my judging, that's for sure, and I've been very angry. But it's one of those things. If you hold on to it too closely, then it's gonna eat you up and do some damage to your life. So I'm leaving that on him to do what he needs to do, and who knows what the future holds for a relationship, but it's gonna take a lot of work if there ever is one. So that's what pushed me to change my name. Now I officially became Andrew Christopher. Anyway, so yeah, the name change, joining Parliament of Owls, has been a big thing the last few years of my life, because we're up to, I guess, 28, 29 years old now, pushing 30. And that's when, Parliament of Owls, Jamie, came into my life, my musical partner, because his wife Nadia and my wife Jamie, try and keep track, they were in the same mom group together with Haven, our daughter, and Layla, their daughter, who are the same age. They go to kindergarten together now. They're best friends. And so I met Jamie, and he just started playing guitar one day, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool, man." And he was like, "Yeah, I write a couple things," and he showed me some of these cool acoustic riffs that he wrote, and he plays mandolin, as you saw. He plays a bit of banjo, and so we started writing those tunes together, and it just felt really good. It was just a good connection, I think, mostly because he's such a cool guy, just loves beer and loves hockey, and so we have a lot in common. So it really gels that way. So it's about just having fun and making music the way we want to make it, not trying to conform to one genre or anything like that. So you'll hear that on the album when it comes out. I've played you a couple of our tunes already that you can hear. There's a few different sounds there already, and you can expect more of that on the album. So that's Jamie and I, Parliament of Owls. And it was also about this time in my life. I had a question on Instagram. I've answered a couple kind of in going through all this already, but one of the main questions from Dylan was, again, about the Kobe Bryant jersey that I had. And he just wanted to know a few of my emotions and how and when it went down that I got rid of this jersey. So my wife, Jamie, I wouldn't call her a hoarder yet, but she has a lot of stuff that she likes to keep. And I was always encouraging her to downsize and get rid of some things. So as a gesture in good faith, she knew I loved this jersey. And I said, "Look at this. I'll even get rid of this jersey and these super old, disgusting basketball shorts that I also loved." And so I gave them to her. She took him to the thrift store, and that was the end of that jersey, man. Thanks for asking. It was another tough day in my life, but I've got through it because I have a nicer Kobe Bryant jersey now. So thanks for that question. I'll just get to these other two questions right away because Brendan and Bobby, fuck you. I know that 20 to 31 is not a decade. It's more than a decade. But I wasn't going to stop this one at 30 and then do another whole show on 1 year. So anyway, thanks, guys. Got it. Moving on. Jamie and I got married. Beautiful wedding. It was out on Galliano Island. Amazing place. Amazing people. Thanks everybody who came. We got married. It's it'll be 2 years in August, but that's a ways away. So it's been about 1.5 years. Then the other thing I wanted to talk about was we went to Dave Matthews Band concert, my first Dave Matthews Band experience at the Gorge in Washington. And it was unreal. So Jamie was the Dave Matthews fan. Her parents are huge Dave Matthews fans. I didn't really know the guy until I met Jamie. She turned me on to him, and now it's, easily my favorite artist out there. And so we went and saw him at the Gorge in Washington, which is an amazing venue. And we took a Volkswagen van down there. Thanks, Stu Coleman. Love you, buddy. That thing was awesome. We camped out in that for 4 nights and just met some awesome people. We saw the concert every night. It was fantastic. And just like as a musical, easily the greatest musical experience I've ever had. I was so blown away by his talent and the songs and the musicianship on stage. And so I wrote one of my tunes. You'll hear a bit of influence of his, the Sunflower Cafe, which is coming together incredibly well for the album. I'm so excited to finish it off. So I hope you guys look forward to checking that out. So that was our experience down at the Gorge. We're trying to go again. I'm not sure when we'll get there. If you haven't checked it out, I would highly suggest going there for any concert. But Labor Day weekend is when Dave Matthews goes and does his 3 nights there. Never repeats a song. He's got so much music. It's incredible. So it's kind of getting to the end here. My sister gets married tomorrow, so I guess I can mention that. My sister Michelle got married last year. Congratulations. My sister Carolyn is getting married tomorrow, which when you hear this will be yesterday. So I've got to go finish learning this song that I got to play for her, and I'm emceeing, so I got to rest my voice a little bit. But thanks again for listening. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'm going to start getting guests in here again. Next episode, I guess I'll start with some errors and omissions, but then we'll have somebody here. I'm not sure who it's going to be yet. But I've got a few people lined up who want to come in and have a chat. So that'll be nice. If you guys have any other questions about anything I've talked about, let me know. I'd be happy to cover them. Otherwise, just follow, subscribe, share these videos around. And hope you guys have a good Sunday or have a good week, whatever you're doing. Just take care of yourself. I'll play a little bit of this one for you. This is one of from the Andrew Christopher acoustic demo. I wrote this tune traveling around Australia. And Woody recorded it. Enjoy.
Something I couldn't take. It's just us hanging on to here and now, trying to hold back time somehow. With the tide way now was another goodbye. Blind melons in my head, I'm starting to cry. gotta break like a wave. Can't act like the tide, coming, going as you please. What's wrong